Hello and shalom, friends. This is Mime Coraline Vega, your holistic life coach and naturopathic herbalist. And in this lesson, we're going to talk about how to stop cataracts and prevent blindness. So, we're going to talk about vision health, eye health. So, our eyes are one of God's most incredible and awesome creations that He has given to us as a wonderful gift. And as a matter of fact, our eyes are one of the things that made Charles Darwin, the quote unquote father of evolution, actually question his own theory of evolution because of the eye's complexity. It drove him to secretly wonder if anything but an intelligent creator could have designed such a marvelous thing, such a marvelous part of our body. But even though our eyes are so awesome, our eyes are also extremely fragile. And more than 100 million people around the world go blind every year. And that includes 33 million Americans who will lose their vision to cataracts and macular degeneration. Okay, now in 2006, Dr. Russell Blaylock, neurosurgeon, and he had his own nutritional clinic where he helped people heal through nutrition. He's one of my favorite holistic doctors, now retired. But in 2006, he reported that when people receive the modern treatment for cataracts by lens replacement surgery, that this actually increases their risk of macular degeneration by 3.8-fold, almost 400%. And this is because the new lens allows even more concentrated ultraviolet light to get into the eye. So that's something to note. If you do get the normal treatment of lens replacement surgery, that you have to be extra careful to not allow UV light to get in and get adequate eye protection, sunglasses. Now there is a 10-year delay in applying new medical information to patient care in the standard medical world. And this is true with medical doctors and ophthalmologists and just any standard doctor, any standard health caregiver will not know the current and most cutting edge and effective holistic care, especially holistic methods, until 10 years from when it's actually known and being used in the real world. And this is actually, it takes even longer when it comes to holistic methods such as nutrition or nutritional supplements. And the reason for this is because there is a lot of excessive caution that's taken in applying what we learn in the real world in order to prevent harm. And there's a modern obsession with the methodology of science. But the problem is that when you're talking about pharmaceuticals, it's definitely important to exercise this excessive caution. And even when excessive caution is practiced, a lot of times a new drug will go out into the market and be used by thousands of people only to later be recalled because people discover side effects, serious side effects, including death, even though that pharmaceutical drug has been quote unquote put to the scientific test and passed. But yet still, these drugs are found wanting and are found to be very deadly and very damaging. So when it comes to pharmaceutical drugs, it is good to apply that excessive caution and testing. However, when it comes to natural substances and substances that are natural to our bodies, like vitamins and natural supplements, These things, these substances, have a history of clinical use that goes back to thousands of years in human history. And also, many of these natural products and supplements have gone through extensive testing in laboratories and under clinical conditions. But we don't know about that, and it's not publicized. And people are always parroting the whole, it's not proven, it's not, science, it's not evidence-based medicine, only because they don't know. And even when there are scientific studies out there, those scientific studies aren't published. They aren't published in the major medical journals because there is no rich pharmaceutical company sponsoring that information um, to go out into the public. And the medical journals have to make money too, so they're going to publish what their sponsors want them to publish. So if you want to know about these things, you do not go to your medical doctor. You do not go to standard medical journals. You go to holistic practitioners, okay? And that's what we're here for at Aruka. So, um, so in the case of pharmaceutical products, because there's massive profits to be made, they encourage the concealment of these holistic, natural, and extremely powerful and effective remedies. There's a strong working relationship with drug safety regulators and, you know, pharmaceutical companies. And this is a conflict of interest. And it's part of why the things that I will tell you are probably not going to be known by your medical doctor or your ophthalmologist. Okay, now of all the serious eye diseases that you can get, the most common one is cataracts. And I have several friends, several people who have this. So cataracts is a gradual clouding of the lens of the eye caused by chemical changes in the structure of the lens. Now, like the lens of your glasses, your eye's own lenses function to bring images into focus on the retina, which is the nerve layer of your eye. Now, normally the lenses of your eyes are clear, like the lenses of clean glasses. But when a cataract starts to appear, vision can become blurry and it's difficult to focus on objects or read text or print clearly. Glare also becomes a problem, and your eye's lenses are different from the lenses of your glasses or a camera lens in that your eye's lenses are elastic. They change shape as needed to focus on objects that are near or far. And there's special muscles inside your eyes that regulate the shape of the lenses as needed. But when a cataract starts growing, not only does the lens become cloudy, it also loses its ability to change shape. And we'll talk about why this is so later. Okay, now ophthalmologists will classify cataracts in three different ways according to where it develops and how it develops. Okay, so most cataracts, which are associated with aging, start at the center or the nucleus of your lens, of the lens of your eye, and it slowly starts radiating outwards to cover the entire lens. Now, a second type, cortical cataracts, they start on the outside of your lens and slowly start moving inward towards the center. And then the third type is subcapsular cataracts, which start behind your lens and then they move forward. Now, the latter two types are usually associated with diabetes and long-term use of steroid medications. Okay, so remember, all these pharmaceutical medications that people take, they are only a temporary band-aid and usually have very severe side effects, unwanted side effects, and are not worth taking in the long run. You really need to find natural solutions, or else the drugs that you are taking will only cause more problems, and sometimes they may be the cause of your death. Okay, so um, the latter two types may also be associated with hereditary eye condition called retinitis pigmentosa, which is a gradual degeneration of your retina. Now, nuclear cataracts are by far the most common. That's the first type where it starts in the middle and then it starts going out. And in addition to aging, these types of cataracts are associated with the following risk factors. Okay. Now, some of the factors that I'm going to mention are things that we can control, and some of them are things that we cannot control. So the things that you can't control, don't worry about it. Okay. You have blue eyes. That's one of the factors. There's nothing you can do to change that. So, it doesn't matter. People over 50, if you're over 50, that's a risk factor. You can't help that either. So it doesn't matter. Now, those who spend a lot of time outdoors or looking towards the outside, like pilots or sailors, they also have that's also a risk factor. But being outdoors is very healthy. You get that vitamin D from the sunshine. You get fresh air. You get exercise. So just because spending a lot of time outdoors is a risk factor, that doesn't mean you should stop going outside. Staying inside indoors and not getting adequate vitamin D or fresh air, sunshine, exercise, that's a risk factor for a lot of other diseases as well. But you do have to make sure that you wear protective eyewear to protect your eyes from the UV rays that are harmful. That's the harmful part about being outdoors. Okay, when you don't protect your eyes from the UV rays. But otherwise, being outdoors is very healthy for you. Okay, so another risk factor is people who um, rarely wear protective eyewear, and that goes together with being outdoors. Okay. Smoking is a risk factor. That's something you can easily cut out. And okay, most people know that smoking is associated with a lot of different sorts of health problems, but including cataracts. Another risk factor is people with elevated homocysteine levels, diabetics, people with poor nutrition, obese people. These are all things that you can control, you can manage with proper diet, nutrition, exercise, and other healthy habits. Okay. Also, people who take statin medications. Statins are actually very harmful and they're not, there's a lot of research out there that shows that they are not even effective for what people usually take them for. There's a lot better ways. There's a lot better, more safer, natural replacements for statins. But that's a different subject. Okay. Other risk factors include exposure to toxic metals, including mercury, lead, cadmium, excess iron, and nickel. So, you know, um, one of the biggest offenders when it comes to mercury is fillings, your dental fillings. And then there's also vaccines. Okay. Um, Another one is people who are exposed to ionizing radiation, people with chronic inflammatory diseases such as autoimmune diseases, arthritis, and atherosclerosis. And these are also things that are affected by healthy habits. So cataracts usually develop slowly over the course of months or years. And this is a blessing. This is a great blessing because when you start noticing symptoms, you can take it as a wake up call, a warning, so you can start changing your ways. And so when you combine different factors such as smoking, obesity, blue eyes, poor nutrition, when you have all those factors together, you have a powerful combination of risk factors for eye damage. But when you manage the things that you can manage, when you can control, you can greatly reduce and even reverse the effects of cataracts. Now, when you do have all these factors, your lens becomes inflamed And there are massive numbers of free radicals that are produced, which damage the lipids and proteins inside your lens. And this causes the proteins to bind in abnormal ways, which is a process that's called cross-linking. And cross-linking makes the lens of your eye lose its clarity and become stiff. So you, from the inflammation, so you get the risk factors which produce the inflammation, and the inflammation produces the cross-linking, which causes your eyes to become stiff, the lens of your eye to become stiff. And the UV rays trigger this process, as does radiation exposure and the other high risk conditions and factors that we mentioned. Okay, now if you ever come across any kind of news article that says that taking vitamin C or vitamin E increases your risk of developing a cataract by any percentage at all, it is complete bogus and propaganda and flat out lies, okay? And you really can't just trust health information that comes from a mainstream website. You really cannot. That's like the last place you want to go to for health information, okay? Um, so the same news source that once reported this, I'm sure there might have been many, but the same one that I'm thinking about is the same news source that reported that coffee causes cancer and also coffee reduces cancer risk in the same exact issue. They have no idea what they're talking about. Now, I have a search engine. I built a search engine. You can find it at search.aruka.com. search.aruka, ARUKAH.com. Okay. And this search engine searches only holistic websites that I trust, that are run by people that I am familiar with and I know that are true healers, okay? I would not trust just any old website. Anyways, the truth is, and this is from Dr. Damian Downing, who is a practicing physician specializing in orthomolecular medicine in London, and Dr. Robert G. Smith, who is a neurophysiologist specializing in eye research at the University of Pennsylvania. Okay, this is where I'm getting this information from that I'm about to say. To prevent age-related diseases of the eye, including cataracts, the best current advice is to lower oxidative stress by stopping smoking, reduce excess weight, this referencing diabetes again, to eat an excellent diet along with a multivitamin supplement and additional supplements of vitamin C, 3 to 6,000 milligrams a day in divided doses between meals, vitamin E, 400 to 1200 IU of natural mixed tocopherols and tocotrienols. Now, this will greatly help prevent oxidation of the tissues of the eye. Artificial forms of vitamin E, DL alpha tocopherol, are only 50% as biologically active as the natural form. The natural form is D alpha tocopherol. Now, taking alpha tocopherol alone is thought to lower the effective uptake of the other beneficial forms of vitamin E. So it's important to take the natural form of mixed alpha, beta, gamma, and delta tocopherols. Okay, that is much more reliable information than something that you'll find at some mainstream media publication. Okay, now if I'm going to reference a ton, I mean, not a ton, many scientific references which show that vitamin C lowers cataract risk, vitamin E lowers cataract risk, smoking increases cataract risk, and a healthy diet prevents cataracts. I'm going to post that along with this lesson at aruka.com/blog/cataracts. Okay, so you'll be able to get those references there. Now, if I knew that I was starting to develop cataracts, I would just go ahead and take the maximum dose of everything that I just stated right now, recommended by those two doctors. I would just start taking them like right away today. But there's more. There's a whole program that my teacher and herbalist Richard Schultz would do for his patients when he had his clinic in Hollywood. And we're going to talk about that next, his whole protocol and the formulas to use for that. But before we get onto that, I would just like to, since we've hit 20 minutes, I'd just like to take a break and say that this lesson is part of the Aruka Holistic Life Academy Health Coach Training and Naturopathic Herbalism program. Okay, and at aruka.com, we empower people to become true healers, healers of their home, for their families, and healers of their community. And along with that holistic health and healing knowledge, we also train people to discover the art of coaching and having the right kind of mindset to help themselves and to help others to live a fulfilled and holistic life. Okay. We teach you how to self coach and how to coach others. And the third thing that we teach at Aruka is we teach people how to build online businesses so that they can have time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom. I have had an online business since 2003, and it has enabled me to be home with my 7 children and homeschool them and have a profitable business and a good income that even matched and eventually surpassed my salary from when I was working at the NASA Ames Research Center before I got married. Okay, so the Aruka Holistic Life Academy, empowering you to become holistic, to become whole in the field of health, in the field of wealth, and in the field of mindset and coaching, which also bleeds into, of course, our relationships. So, health, wealth, and relationships, how to have a holistic life. So, if you'd like to learn more about that, and this is the material that we teach at aruka.com, this is really things that I believe everyone should know. I mean, we learn a lot of just nonsense all throughout public school and even college. When people pay big money to learn a lot of nonsense and get degrees that are oftentimes worthless. Like the majority of degrees that people get are pretty much worthless. But at Ruka.com, we teach people the things I believe that are most important. How to be healthy, how to heal yourself, how to have the right kind of mindset so that you can conquer any problem and achieve any success and any goal you set for yourself in life, and how to build a profitable online business, which, especially right now with the whole, pandemic and COVID-19, this is the best time. People are really waking up to the importance of becoming an online entrepreneur, especially. Okay, now I know a lot of people wonder if there are any natural treatments for cataracts. And of course there are herbal treatments. Now people often ask me, what herb should I take or what tea should I take for this? As if one herb is going to do it. That's not how holistic health and healing works. The holistic approach means you take a look at everything in your life that is contributing to your condition, to your problem, because it's most likely not going to be one thing. It's probably going to be a chain reaction of things or multiple factors in your life that um that meet in at one point to cause a specific issue, or actually multiple issues. Usually it's, when you have one problem, it will quickly spiral into many different problems that may seem unrelated, but they're often related because many problems are caused by unhealthy habits and having an unhealthy mindset. Okay, so in my herbalist teacher's clinic, he had hundreds of patients who got rid of their cataracts using Dr. Richard Schultz and also Dr. Herbalist John R. Christopher's Eye Bright formula. Okay, they're almost the same. And if you remember, um, Dr. Christopher was the teacher of Dr. Schultz, and they were both basically my teachers when I went to school. Um, I studied under their teachings. So the Eye Bright formula, to use it, you basically wash your eyes 3 times a day with the formula. You start with a lighter dose of maybe 2 to 3 drops of the formula in an eye cup, which is basically a small cup that you kind of suctions over your eyes, and then so that you can, flip it over, and then the liquid inside of it goes into your eyes. Okay, and it's basically the formula with some distilled or purified water. Distilled is better because it's really pure. And then you work your way up to 10 drops of the formula with the water, which is the highest dosage suggested. Now, whenever your body has congestion, herbalist Richard Schultz teaches that, including in the lens of your eye, there is no better herb than cayenne to supercharge and dramatically boost the blood and lymphatic flow, which simply cleans and flushes and heals the area. Okay. And so in the Eye Bright formula, it has a lot of cayenne. And this is why, if you do this, you're going to feel a zing from using the formula, especially at the higher doses. Okay. But more blood flow and increased lymphatic circulation will help your body to heal anything. The Bible says that the life is in the blood. And it's what brings healing to your body. It brings the nutrients that your body needs, from one place to the other. It also gets rid of toxins around your body through your blood. So also, any exercise that gets more circulation to your head where your eyes are, from slant boards or, back swings, gravity boots, but you have to be careful to work your way up to a certain intensity, especially if you're not in good health. If you do those kinds of things, okay, just so basically you're just trying to get the blood to flow towards your head, your eyes. Okay. Now, also fasting, flushing, and detoxification are in order for cataracts, just as they would be for many different, health issues. So you can do it. Richard Schultz would recommend his 30-day detox program, which we, learn about in Ataruka. And um, at a minimum, the 30-day detox program. And if you really want to get serious, you could do his entire Incurables program, which we also study. And we'll talk about that another time. But if you want to get a hold of those things, just contact me at aruka.com, and someone will get that to you and just email you the references to those things. Okay, so but you have to remember that whatever results you get with a holistic healing program are always a reflection of the time and energy and commitment that you put into getting healthy and following the program. Okay, so Dr. Schultz talks about how he had a trash basket full of eyeglasses in his clinic from patients who brought in their glasses and threw them away because their cataracts disappeared and their eyesight became normal and they didn't need their glasses anymore. Okay, now you can always get Dr. Schultz's Herbal Eye Bright formula directly from his website. It's herbdoc.com, herbdoc.com slash eyebright, EYEBRIGHT dash formula. And let's compare Dr. Schultz's formula versus Dr. Christopher's formula, who again, Dr. Christopher was Dr. Schultz's teacher, right? Herbalist teacher. So in Dr. Schultz's formula, he has the eye bright herb and flower, wild harvested, always wild harvested and organic. He has golden seal root, mullein flower, fennel seed, red raspberry leaf, and wild harvested cayenne pepper. Now, he taught me to buy my herbs from pacificbotanicals.com. Everything there, I think almost I think everything there is either organic or wild crafted, wild harvested. Okay. So they have very high quality herbs. Now, if I can't find something from pacificbotanicals.com, I would go to mountainroseherbs.com. Okay. And once in a while, if I need something in a hurry, and I don't have time to wait for them to ship me something, you can also get organic and well crafted herbs from Amazon.com. But I try to avoid that as much as possible. And I also, I'm part of this co-op called azurestandard.com, and they deliver to my area. It was available both in California and in Texas, where I now live. Okay. It's azurestandard.com. I like getting herbs from them too, but they only come once a month. Okay. So now in Dr. Christopher's Herbal Eye Bright formula, he puts bayberry bark, eye bright herb, golden seal root, red raspberry leaf, and an an eighth part of cayenne. So Dr. Schultz puts a lot more cayenne than Dr. Christopher does. And so for Dr. Christopher's, it's basically one part of each. And when I say part, I mean volume, meaning 1 cup, right? 1 cup or one, it doesn't matter what measurement it is. But it's volume. Okay. So it's not weight. It's volume. So it could be 1 cup, 2 cups, a gallon, doesn't matter, but just equal parts of each, except for the cayenne, which would only be an eighth. Now just know that with Dr. Schultz, it's a little bit different. Instead of bayberry, he uses mullein and fennel. Okay. And he uses a lot more cayenne. Okay, so that's the difference. And of course, this it's they're tinctures, so they're created in alcohol, 90 proof. I use 90 proof vodka. That's what I was taught when I started, just the strongest available, which is 90 proof vodka. And also you can buy Dr. Christopher's formula too at his herb shop. Forgot the website address for that, but you can Google that. So now Dr. Schultz, because it has more cayenne, it is going to zing more. Okay, so you could use his and just use less, or you could start with Dr. Christopher's. It really doesn't matter. Or if you're like me, I like to make my own tinctures. Okay, that's making your own is always going to be the most cost effective, especially if you're going to be doing this on an ongoing basis, as Dr. Christopher, of course, suggests. Okay, now I'm really not done with this subject yet. There's still more that I really want to share. Um, but since we've hit over half an hour now, we're at 34 minutes. I want to stop and just create a part 2 of this subject. Okay, so just consider this part one. We'll have at least a part 2, maybe more. I'm not sure. So please stay tuned. And you can always contact me at aruka.com if you have any questions. Or, I've decided to just go ahead and put the references to the things that I've talked about in this lesson in the actual video or audio file that you're probably accessing this lesson through. So I'll have the link to the main page from it, where you'll see, links to the different studies that I talked about, or um, well, not links to the studies, but references to those studies, as well as links to um, Dr. Dr. Christopher and Dr. Schultz's formulas, and the herbal store sources and whatnot. Okay, so have a wonderful rest of your day and week, depending on when you're listening to this. Okay, alrighty then. Bye bye. Shalom, friends.